Good morning and a happy Wednesday. Welcome to today's episode of Morning Wealth. Three things that we will talk about: rejig in the Dow Index, the US housing and consumer confidence data that came through, and strong Salesforce numbers. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq notched record gains again on Tuesday as investors cheered trade talks among US and Chinese officials following weeks of escalating tensions between the two largest economies. US stocks have advanced in recent days, boosted by investors' optimism about a potential treatment for the coronavirus as well. Last week, the S&P 500 notched its first closing record since February and has climbed from there. S&P 500 was up 0.4%, the Nasdaq was up 0.8%, but the Dow Jones slipped by about 0.2%. Investors welcome news that senior US and Chinese officials were committed to carrying out the Phase 1 trade accord signed in January. A video conference late Monday brought together the US Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and the Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, along with the Chinese Vice Premier Liu He, for a formal review of the deal. There's been a rejig in the Dow Index. So the three companies that will be exiting the Dow Jones Industrial Average as part of a makeover prompted by Apple's decision to split its stock all lost ground. So Raytheon dropped about 1.5%, Pfizer dropped 1.1%, and ExxonMobil was down about 3.2%. So the companies that were added were Amgen, Honeywell, and Salesforce. So investors rewarded the replacements in the blue chip gauge. Amgen was up about 5.4%, Honeywell was up 3.2%, and Salesforce added 3.6% during the market hours, but after market hours it went up by 12%. We will talk about this a little later. On the global markets, the regional stock 600 dropped 0.3%. In Asia, Japan's Nikkei 225 was up 1.4%. China's Shanghai Composite and even the Hong Kong's Hang Seng both were posted muted losses. The 10-year yields were up 3 basis points to 0.68. The dollar weakened against every G10 pair except the yen, with the pound leading the way. Crude jumped 2%. While gold retreated. Asian equity futures are narrowly split. They are pretty mixed. The US housing market looks great. Consumer confidence not so much. New home sales jumped to the highest level in almost 14 years in July, climbing 13.9% on an annualized pace. Consumer confidence unexpectedly declined in August as Americans face growing uncertainty about jobs and income prospects. Augmented jobless benefits expired in late July, leaving many US households with income concerns. An executive order calling for extra $300 a week in benefits was signed in August 8, but those checks are yet to find its way to the households. The responses in the report partially capture the slow and unclear process of extending this jobless support and the other aid that can probably come through. So as measured by the conference board, consumer confidence fell 6.9 points in August to 84.8, led by a sharp deterioration in the present situation component, which was down by about 11.7 points, and a smaller drop in the expectations index. So there are two components to this. One is the survey will capture what the present situation is, and the survey will also capture what the consumers are looking for in the future. So the present component fell sharply while the expectations had a smaller drop. This is the second consecutive monthly drop and underscores that the consumer uneasiness regarding jobs and income is real. And remember, consumer is a big part of the US economy. In fact, 70% of the US economy. So getting confidence back in that area is very, very critical. Lastly, on Salesforce shares rose as much as 12% in extended trading on Tuesday after the enterprise software company reported Fiscal second quarter earnings that surpassed analyst expectations. So earnings came in at 1.44 per share. The expectation was 67 cents. The revenue came in at 5.15 billion versus a 4.9 billion that was expected. The adjusted earnings were also positively impacted by mark-to-market accounting for the company's investments, is what the statement said. So, Salesforce got added into the Dow Index, but the earnings also was good. So effectively, it created a nice little tailwind for the shares to kind of move up much higher. That's your update. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and speak soon.